Yeah. There are a few mics open. Rustam, your mic is open.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. All right. I have skipped a few pages which I'll be taking in next turn. We are now on page number 20 of the book called Intimate Conversations with Meher Baba by Bal Natu. Sorry? Sorry. Intimate Conversation with the Awakener. You are right. Correct. For us, the Awakener is Meher Baba. Okay. Go ahead. Page number 20.
Your smiling presence. It was midnight, but I could not get a wink of sleep. A month earlier, I had had a very nasty motorcycle accident. My right leg was now in a splint, and I had a deep wound in my thigh. The pain was intense and sometimes unbearable. I sat on the edge of my bed and balanced my right leg on a stool while my left dangled over the edge. It was a cool November night, and the leaves on the trees outside my window were softly rustling as if to soothe me with their sound. The new moon shone down on me through the fleecy clouds with a gentle light as if it was silently expressing its sympathy for my plight. On the table in my room, the night lamp cast a pleasantly dim light through its colored silken shade. A glass of water had been set out, and my comfortably cushioned crutches were near at hand. Everything around me was imbued with a quiet beauty and conspired to give me comfort, but I could not appreciate any of it.
Right. Basically, this is the environment that the author is trying to say. What reminded me about this wounded leg was, I'm digressing a bit, but still, one of our very good friends, he met with a motorcycle accident and he was terribly injured, terribly in pain. So we went to visit him and we asked him, how does he feel? How does he feel now? The operation was yet to be done. And what reply he gave was really stunned. He said it is excruciating pain. It is extremely painful. But what he does to reduce the pain is that he remembers the pain which Meher Baba underwent in his self-imposed suffering through the two auto accidents. Both the times, one, the first accident, the entire left side, including the left leg, and the second accident, entire right side, including the right leg, was broken. So he said, when I'm visualizing what he went through for us, my pain diminishes to a very great extent. So we need to learn, at least we were both very touched that this is the time when we need to, whenever we are in pain, we must remember the pain and the suffering that the Lord underwent because of us. And that he said it really diminished the pain the moment I think about those things. First, psychologically, your mind is out of your own I, my, me, and mine, and you are thinking about the other. Nothing more to explain except the word here, fleecy clouds with a gentle light. Fleecy would mean woolly or cottonish, the cotton kind of thing. And then the other, everything around me was imbued with the quiet beauty. Imbued would mean permeated or impregnated. It is totally impregnated or imbued or permeated with the quiet beauty and conspired to give me comfort. In other words, conspired not in the negative sense of conspiracy, but they all tried to confer comfort upon me. That is the meaning of it. They were all trying to give me comfort, but I was not comforted. Go ahead.
My visits to the hospital had exhausted me and left me anxious and depressed. Alone in my room, I was easily carried away by my worst imaginings.
Rakesh has a question. We'll take it after the go ahead.
Instead of inhaling the perfume of a flower bouquet of trust in you, I allowed myself to wallow in the backwaters of depression. I wondered whether my wound would heal or if it would become infected. If it became infected, would my leg have to be amputated? Would I then be able to continue my present job? If I lost my job, how could I ever hope to pay for the staggering medical bills I had accumulated in such a short time?
All right, Rakesh, you have a question.
Jai Baba.
Yes.
So the question that popped up in my head was like there was a passage we read earlier that disciples were following the master, and master popped in his mouth burning coal. And then he said, do not try and emulate the master. So while this gentleman, he remembered Baba, in taking upon all the suffering. I mean, is there a touch of ego which is trying to emulate the master?
Yeah, I got your point. Yeah, I got your point. For the first part of your question, Baba's words were, do not do what I do what I tell you to do. That's one thing. So don't do what I'm doing, but do what I tell you to do. Here, I don't personally feel there's any touch of ego. The whole idea is that in order to read, of course, there's a little selfishness in there, because in you, this psychological concept that if you take your mind away from your problem, that problem apparently diminishes. So here what he did was he applied those principles of remembering somebody, and who better than the master himself, who has undergone all these troubles. And when he was remembering Baba's troubles and suffering, he felt that his suffering was apparently reduced. Ultimately, you only have the experience of suffering through your own mind. Understand? If the mind is not there, there is no suffering. If the consciousness is not there, there is no suffering. If you are given anesthesia, there is no suffering. Right? So he was just trying to work upon those principles of taking the mind and the consciousness away from his own suffering to the master's suffering, which in his experience tend to reduce his own suffering, which I think is a brilliant idea for all of us to emulate if at all such things happen, that we do not delve in our own I, my, me and mine, but think about somebody else, because that's what the psychologists and the psychoanalysts also suggest, that when you are supposedly in depression, you try to help others, you try to take care of a pet, you try to take care of some old person or some children, and when your mind is occupied in that, to a very great extent, your supposed depression vanishes or reduces. So that's a very psychological concept.
Actually, when we went and met him, it never, like the way Cyrus is making, it never came across like that. It was very simple from the heart. He said, it's paining, but I remembered Baba's pain. Yeah. And at that time, he had heard about Baba's accident, we were discussing. So that was uppermost in his mind, and that is how he focused on Baba, and he felt that his pain had decreased. It was nothing more.
Is that okay, Rakesh?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, sorry. This paragraph also, my visits to the hospital had exhausted me and left me anxious and depressed. It's a very common experience for people who are ill. You feel exasperated, depressed, and all that. Alone in my room, again, loneliness is another terrible thing to happen if you are lonely. But all this is, let me tell you, Baba later on said, this is all superfluous. You can alter it through your own altered way of thinking. I was easily carried away by my worst imaginings. It is always said, that imagined risk is always greater than real risk. Imagined suffering is always greater than real suffering, because imagination has wings that can fly anywhere and in any direction. But in actuality, in the gross world, it may not be as worse as what we envisage in our thinking process. Instead of inhaling the perfume of a flower bouquet of trust in you, beautiful words, I allowed myself to wallow in the backwaters of depression. Backwaters, we understand, depression. I wondered whether my wound would heal, and then all these other things. That means, in other words, he is wallowing, he is, sorry? Yeah, he is wallowing in self-pity. He is imagining the worst that can happen, you see, and which more or less many of us do. And let us see now what Baba has to say about it.
Part of me realized that most of this worrying was nonsensical, but I found myself waist deep in this quagmire of self pity and concern and could not extricate myself. It was then that you entered the room and beamed a radiant smile. Taking a seat, you said, "As you cannot walk freely, I decided to walk right in." The room was brightened by your exhilarating, charming smile. It was so intense that I was instantly lifted out of my low spirits. I felt as if I were completely healed and could even run a mile.
So we have always seen most of Baba's photographs, I would say, are always smiling. He always emphasized on humor, on good cheer, on smiling, on positivity, on creativity, on exuberance. That means a kind of, what was the word? Enthusiasm. He always encourages this. Yeah. And his own life was always like that. So here the author is saying that the moment that you entered, and how beautiful the statement is that since you cannot walk, I have come to you. And this has happened to in Baba's physical ministry in several instances when people are ill, people are sick, people are pining for him. Baba would change his path where he's going. He would just go elsewhere and go in and stand in front of the person and say, "Here I am. You had such a lot of longing to see me, to meet me, but you cannot, so I am here for you." So that's the magnanimity of our Lord.
Glancing at me, you asked, "What happened to your leg? You're looking weak and worried." Your questions brought me down from my feeling of exaltation, and I narrated the whole episode of the accident. Looking compassionately at me, you said, "Now that this has happened, don't brood over it. Continue to do what is necessary. Do you need any help from me?"
Such a powerful statement. Now that it has happened, don't brood over it. What has happened has already happened. Past tense. There is nothing you can do about it by brooding, wailing, weeping, poor me, not me, why me, all that. It is a waste of our energy. We always say, that but imagine the insanity. I keep repeating this sentence, which is very beautiful. Imagine the insanity of not accepting what is. Because what is just is. Whether you accept it or not, it is and will always remain is. So what you need to do is now what? So instead of being a part of the problem, you tend to become now a part of the solution and move on from that place. Very powerful statement. Baba says, now that it has happened, don't brood over it. Continue to do what is necessary. Do you need any help from me? How kind-hearted, how loving. Then he says that now don't brood. What has happened, what had to happen has already happened. Now you continue what needs to be done. And then he says, do you need any help from me? Go ahead.
Since I had been worrying almost constantly about my health and financial situation, it was with only a little hesitancy that I replied, "Now that you have asked, may I request good health?" "Why not?" you answered. "And more well," I added with a little uncertainty. "Sure, sure," you responded magnanimously. "I have already implored you many times for these gifts," I protested, stammering slightly on my own boldness. "Yes, you have," you calmly replied. "But I have not yet been given." "Right," you said in an unruffled manner. "But why didn't you help me when I asked for it previously?" I complained. With a serious look, you said, "Because I love you so much." Surprised, I exclaimed, "I was suffering and you did not pay heed?" What sort of love is this? It is selfless love, you said, in the same calm, matter of fact tone. I suffer in you to reveal the source of unfading and unending bliss, the real health and treasure that is within you. For some moments, a wonderful silence prevailed. I did not, rather, could not respond, for I was trying to absorb the import of your words. Your intimate, benign smile silenced my mind.
Isn't it so much like what we go through? He is asking for health and wealth. Let's put it that way. We always say health and wealth, you know. And Baba very magnanimously says, yes, I will give you both. I will, sure, sure, why not? And then the author says, but why did you not give me when I asked you before? You know. And then he says, because I love you. Now the author says, what sort of love is this? I am asking you for help. I am asking you for financial assistance. You are not providing that. And you are saying love? What sort of love? And Baba says, this is selfless love. Just imagine. You said in the same calm, matter of fact tone. Same calm, matter of fact. This is important now. I suffer in you. That means it is Baba who is having a universal body and a universal mind. Every little suffering of every little soul, each and every soul, is his suffering as well. So Baba says, I suffer in you to reveal the source of unfading and unending bliss, the real health and treasure that is within you. In other words, my interpretation to this would be that we all go through suffering, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, social, financial, whatever that may be. We all go through this. And the whole purpose, first of all, this is my take. The whole source of this suffering is our own karma. There's no doubt about it. Baba does not thrust any suffering on anybody. It is our own karma. So, in other words, suffering is a medicine in itself if we are able to analyze the cause of suffering and go deep within ourselves in order to find the real treasure of health and wealth. That's what Baba is saying. That unless and until you go through this tumultuous situation in life, the turbulent situation in life, you will not be able to focus on what is reality of life. What is it that you are here for? What is it that your body is here for? That kind of thing. So Baba says, I suffer in you to reveal the source of unfading and unending bliss. What is the source?
That is
The real health, that is the real health and the treasure that is within you. In one another statement, why should men suffer when the avatar is there or where God is there? Again, these are words to the effect. I'm paraphrasing. Baba saying that the source of infinite bliss is the self in you, capital S, and the cause of perpetual suffering is the selfishness of you. As long as men continue to derive happiness through selfish pursuits, suffering will always exist. Words to the effect. In other words, all suffering is nothing but driving us to non-suffering or to selflessness or to the source of this unending bliss, real health and real wealth. So the whole idea of suffering, the whole purpose of suffering is to divert our attention from without, that means from outside, to deep within you, wherein lies the source of all happiness, all joy. This is how I would interpret. Yeah. All bliss, correct.
For some moments, A wonderful, I read this.
Read it, never mind.
For some moments, a wonderful silence prevailed. I did not, rather, could not respond, for I was trying to absorb the import of your words. Your intimate, benign smile silenced my mind. Knowing that I was now more receptive, you continued. Don't get disheartened in your life. Don't become over enthusiastic either. Try to remain poised in my remembrance and maintain a balance in your thoughts and feelings. Watch the unfolding of your life dispassionately, and you will discover my help even in the midst of the most mundane happenings.
Again, another brilliant thought process. Knowing that I was now more receptive, you continue. Don't get disheartened in your life. Many times when things don't, why do we get disheartened? Because our desires are not fulfilled. Because we are not going where we are expected, where we are intending to go. Don't become over enthusiastic either. Means both ways. In joy as well as in suffering, be balanced, be poised, be a witness, just observe as if it is happening to somebody else. Try to remain poised in my remembrance and maintain a balance in your thoughts and feelings. Again, the word poised, equanimity, equipoise comes where you are balanced. Watch, watch. Watch means again witness. Just watch. Watch the unfolding of your life dispassionately, which means not affected by emotions. Don't be affected by your own emotions concerning your own life. Watch the unfolding of your life dispassionately, and you will discover my help even in the midst of the most mundane happenings. So here 2 points come across, उभर के आते हैं, so to speak. One is that we need to be balanced and not be over anxious or over excited about good things or over anxious about the so-called not so good thing. Be balanced, be poised. Number one. Number two, keep remembering me. Number three, be dispassionate. Just watch it, just witness it, like how Sakshi Bhav, like how we watch a film, something is happening on the screen. No doubt it is happening on the screen of our own consciousness, but it is not happening to our soul. It may be very philosophical to talk when it comes to actually practicing. It may be difficult, but that seems to be the key to finding the source of unending bliss within us. We all go through that, but we attend to everything superfluously. But when we use these instances or happenings in our life as a platform, as a springboard for for growth, then this can turn the whole scenario. By the very suffering that we are going through becomes the key for the door of bliss to be open. So that is what. Yes, Rakesh, go ahead. Rakesh, you have a question?
Yes.
Please.
So earlier you have said that if there is suffering, we should do everything which is within our means to eradicate or remove that suffering. But whatever comes, we should welcome. Now, I mean, like his will, so we should accept.
Yes.
Again, you just said that we should be dispassionate. Now, how can you be dispassionate and be only an observer and still actively really, do all within your means to eradicate the suffering?
Why can't you? I don't know why.
If I really understand that this suffering is not, being caused to the soul, it's only the body and some karma or something is being worked out. So why don't I just let it be? Why do I have to actively work in a way that, it doesn't happen, or it is at least diminished?
I got your point.
There is a contradiction.
No, there is no contradiction. Baba is explaining from the point of view of all of us, the gross planers, so to speak. Maybe there will come a time, there can come a time when, like for example, the saints, for example, the musts, for example, the perfect masters are totally out of question because they are God in human form, in a sense. But for them, for the musts, for those on the planes of consciousness, they are like, as you said, everything is coming from God. I'm not going to do anything. And then God has to do for them. You see, for the must, that is why we had this session called the seeker becomes the sought. The seeker means the must who are seeking for God actually becomes the sought because God is seeking out them for them and God is doing for them. Because Baba has done that. If you read The Wayfarers, which is a superb book on the must, Baba has been searching out for them, bathing them, cleaning them. That is externally, I mean, clothing them, giving them food, giving somebody some extra money to take care of them for this upkeep for a number of years and all that. So the must doesn't care. The must is not bothered in the harshness of the heat or in the monsoon or in the winter, sitting in the snow and ice. It does not affect them. So a time may come when what you are saying is very true. But because he is explaining to people like us, where we have to be very practical. So we need to do what needs to be done in a dispassionate manner. That means without being unduly passionate about it is happening to me. This is my interpretation and my answer to your question. But your question is very valid. There is an element of contradiction there, but then we are mixing up two layers. One layer is where people really, really do not care what happens to them. Let anything happen, they don't do anything. And then God has to do for them, or the perfect master has to do for them, or the body automatically takes care of itself. Why? Because the person has already gone above the gross level of consciousness. He's in the subtle, he's in the mental. The body takes care of itself. You don't eat for months, nothing happens. You don't drink water, nothing happens. You don't sleep, nothing happens. But that's not for us. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Right. So where was I? Yeah. Okay. I've done this. Yeah. So what I understand is be balanced, be poised, watch, be dispassionate, and remember him. And if you do all these things, then you will experience Baba's presence in our life in the most mundane things also.
Maintain a balance in the thoughts.
Maintain a balance. Same thing, poise.
I was fascinated by what you were revealing to me. You seemed pleased by my interest and continued. Listen, there are innumerable seasons in everyone's life. Things pass and then return, though slightly changed. This cycle of blossoming and withering is indispensable. Life's journey through these opposites is enriched and, if accepted with the right understanding, leads ahead towards new horizons. Suffering and pain are as inevitable as moments of joy and delight. This is the very fabric of life. Pass through it all, and eventually, joy and suffering will merge into one harmonious whole, redolent with my love. You will gain this perspective more quickly if you resign to my will, which continually works to reveal to you the everlasting fountain of bliss which I am.
Okay. Again, here Baba says he's going into deeper waters, so to speak. Listen, there are innumerable seasons in everyone's life. That means there's a high and low, ebb and tide. Things pass and then return, though slightly changed. This cycle of blossoming and withering is indispensable, cannot be avoided, cannot do without it. It is absolutely necessary. Life's journey through these opposites is enriched. Baba has said that the way to move forward is to experience the opposites. Somewhere else, Baba had said it is like a log of wood which is floating in the river and flowing along with the river. And on one side, rich and poor, high and low, good and bad, vice and virtue. It should not be stuck on any one bank. It keeps on, and in the very process of going like this, it is able to move forward. So here Baba says, life's journey through these opposites is enriched. And, a very important word, and, if accepted in the right understanding. This is a very, very underlined word. One must understand things that are happening to us in the right perspective, the right understanding. If accepted in right understanding, it will leaps ahead towards new horizon. I will just read the whole paragraph, 3 lines. Life's journey through these opposites is enriched, and if accepted in the right understanding, leaps ahead toward new horizons. Suffering and pain are as inevitable as moments of joy and delight. This is the very fabric of life. Very fabric would mean this is the very framework of life. This is how, in the drawing board, the Lord has drawn the plan for life. It's a very fabric of life that you go through these oscillations. Pass through it all, and that means when you pass through it, don't brood, don't weep, don't wail, don't say poor me, don't get stuck on one side of or one bank of the river. Pass through it all, and eventually joy and suffering will merge into one harmonious whole. One, that means there is no difference between joy and suffering. You are above joy and suffering. Into one harmonious whole, redolent with my love. Redolent would mean fragrant with my love. You fragrant. You will feel the fragrance of my love in the joy as well as in suffering if you pass through it in a detached manner. You will gain this perspective more quickly, the perspective of going through. How? If you resign to my will. And what is Baba's will? We have done that earlier. My will is law. That means everything that is happening in the world, at least let us constrain ourselves to ourselves. Everything that is happening to me is happening according to the law of karma. That means it is happening according to Baba's will. That means it is happening because I have sown the seeds of that happening in the past. And because I have sown the seed, I have to reap the fruit. And therefore, instead of weeping and wailing and crying and blaming and all that, I accept it and then move on to do what needs to be done in a dispassionate manner. Coming to this, you will gain this perspective more quickly if you resign to my will, which continually works to reveal to you the everlasting fountain of bliss, which I am. That means if we go through all these things, holding on to Baba's Daman, remembering him all the while, not being too attached or overtly muddled up in what is happening, just watching it with a sense of dispassionate poise, then we will be able to come out of it more quickly and we will be able to appreciate Baba's fragrance of love. That is, in short, we'll be moving further and further towards the truth or towards the goal.
The immensity of your statements was hard for me to take in, and just then there was a shooting pain in my leg. Discouraged again, I said, "So you're trying to tell me that all my suffering is necessary?" You knew what made me blurt out this impertinent question, and ignoring my irritation, you answered, "Not only was this accident necessary for you, but nothing that happens to you is unnecessary. If you only try with detachment to understand the meaning behind these events, then life itself will begin to answer your questions."
All of a sudden, when things were happening, he got a shooting pain in the leg. And immediately, you know how we react to such things. He is asking, do you mean to say, is this real? Is this suffering really necessary? And this is another neck of Baba's behavior, so to speak, neck, that he does not allow us to delve into something negative. He would, in a sense, feign as if he has not even heard your complaint, and he will take you from the so-called negative to the positive. So here, very beautifully, you knew what made me blurt out this impertinent question. You knew because you are aware that I am under excruciating pain, and ignoring my irritation. Baba ignored the negative aspect of the complaint. You answered, not only was this accident necessary for you, but nothing that happens to you is unnecessary. Once we understand that nothing happens to the consciousness of my soul unless and until that happening is necessitated for my own growth, and not only necessitated, but it is implanted by me in the past in the seed form, and now it is coming as a fruit. So all that my consciousness is experiencing today is nothing but the fruits of the seeds I have sown in the past. Now I have sown it, so obviously I have to harvest that particular fruit or whatever. If you only try with detachment, the strong word here is again detachment. Detachment does not mean that you will not love, you will not care, you will not do what needs to be done. Detachment only needs that you have the proper understanding of why things happen the way they happen, and what is to be done thereafter. If you only try with detachment to understand the meaning behind these events, then this is important. Then life itself will begin to answer your question. There will be no need for us to ask questions of somebody else. Life itself, once you are so embroiled in understanding the cause of what we are going through, life itself will give us the answers to our own questions.
Then, referring to my earlier request, you added, have you searched your mind and heart as to the real reason you are asking for health and wealth? Behind your desire to get better and pay your bills, wasn't there a craving to indulge more and more in worldly pleasures? I could not deny this. I realized, as you said it, just how attached I was to the world and how strong a pull its attractions and promises had on me. So I kept quiet. As for your physical pain, you went on in a humorous way. If I drive it out of you, perhaps you may drive me away as well. You glanced at my cast. After all, when things go wrong, you remember me. But when things go smoothly, you forget me. Am I right? I didn't answer. If I were to grant your wishes, you would be attacked from all sides by innumerable temptations. If you succumb to them, they would only tighten the bonds of ignorance about your true nature. Do you really want that? The answer was plain, and you continued in a reassuring and light-hearted way. I don't mean you have to be grim and serious all the time. In my remembrance, innocent, selfless delight keeps the heart awake to higher values and will enable you to enjoy the game of life. Then you winked at me. Do you ever ask me to help free you from lust and greed with even 1% of the intensity with which you call on me for physical relief and riches? Do you ever ask me to get rid of your arrogance and pride with the same wholehearted craving with which you sometimes ask for ice cream or dessert? I was crestfallen. What should I say? You had put your finger on the right spot. But then, to cheer me up, you added, What I said is not meant to blame you. I understand your limitations and abilities better than you do. What you have done is okay with me, but you should honestly accept the facts as they are, and in the future, try earnestly to transcend your lower desires and be more watchful over your wants and cravings. This will open the door to your inner journey to me. Your words were like soothing music that moves the heart even when the mind does not understand what is happening. I felt as if parts of my life, which had been restricted, tangled up in crooked knots, were now beginning to be untied. I vainly sought for words to express my indebtedness to you. But before I could say anything, you got up and very lovingly said, every moment in time holds chalices of holy wine, and every point in space contains unknown delightful heavens. But I am not going to deal with that topic today. You have had enough of my words for now, don't you think? Good night and have a restful sleep.
Okay.
So saying, you walked over to the table and had a sip of water from the glass. Then, pointing to the crescent moon that was clearly visible through the window, you said, isn't that lovely? I turned my head to look, and at the same moment, I saw you shooting out through space to reappear, sitting in the center of the crescent, casually dangling your left leg. You were playfully teasing me.
Were you?
Were you sorry, Baba? Were you playfully teasing me because I had been sitting in this position when you came into the room? Your wit and wisdom, your humor and compassion, each outdoes the other. I turned my head and to find out whether you were really on the move or still near the table. I didn't see you anywhere, but the whole room was suffused with your luminous, loving smile. In an astonished yet exalted mood, I limped over to the table and drank the water you had sipped. It was now holy wine, and delightful heavens seemed to dance around me. Your every visit is a unique occurrence with glorious facets. Filled with wonder and delight, I lay on my bed beside myself with rapture. Turning my head to the crescent moon, I implored you, pray, graciously pour your smiling presence into my entire being. That would be a sure remedy for any malady, physical or mental. The perfect panacea, your smiling presence.
All right. I'll need to read this again. Where was I? All right. Okay. Then, referring to your early request, you added, have you searched your mind and heart as to the real reason you were asking for health and wealth? We are asking for health and wealth, but the real reason is we want to enjoy the Maya, we want to enjoy life. That is why we are asking for health and wealth. Behind your desire to get better and pay your bills, wasn't there a craving to indulge more and more in worldly pleasures? Baba had said this even for so many people when he was physically present, that it's child's play for me to make you walk, make you run, make you do this, make you that, do that, but it won't help you. It is good that you are going through all this suffering while my nazar is on you and his nazar is still on each one of us, so that you can do away with your past garbage of samskaras and come off it rather than going more and more into the realms of illusion. I could not deny this, that yes, I wanted to health and wealth for more pleasure. I could not deny this. I realized, as you said it, just how attached I was to the world and how strong a pull its attractions and promises had on me. So I kept quiet. So when Baba asked this question, he kept quiet. As for your physical pain, you went on in a humorous vein. If I drive it out of you, perhaps you may drive me away as well. That means if I drive the pain out of your body, there is every possibility that there's no reason for you now to remember me. So you will drive me out of you, out of your body. You glanced at my cast. Cast means the plaster which was put on the leg. You glanced at my cast. After all, when things go wrong, you remember me. When things go smoothly, you forget me. Am I right? And that's generally the pattern, that when things are going wrong, we remember him more profusely, more profoundly, more deeply. It's not that we don't remember him when we are going through good times, we do. But the profundity, the depth with which we remember him when we are suffering, I think it touches a deeper chord than otherwise. Am I right? I did not answer. If I were to grant your wishes, you would be attacked from all sides by innumerable temptations, lots of wealth, good health, robust health, vigor, and all that. If you succumb to them, they would only tighten the bonds of ignorance about your true nature. In other words, it will not help you to seek out your true nature. It will not help you to seek out the answer to the very first question, who am I? You will be dabbling in the periphery superfluousness of enjoyment and pleasure. If you succumb to them, they would only tighten the bonds of ignorance about your true nature. Do you really want that? That means you should just enjoy and not go deep within yourself. The answer was plain, and you continued in a reassuring and light-hearted way. I don't mean you have to be grim and serious all the time, which Baba never expected us to be grim and serious. Baba has said it time and time again, that innocent pleasures, selfless enjoyment is very good thing, but do not be attached to any of these things. In my remembrance, innocent, selfless delight keeps the heart awake to higher values and will enable you to enjoy the game of life. In other words, we should be honest, we should be pure, we should be light-hearted, we should be selfless, and take the delights of what life has to offer you. Then you winked at me. Do you ever ask me to help free you from lust and greed with even 1% of the intensity with which you call on me for physical relief and riches? So true that I don't think we have ever asked Baba with that much of intensity and depth and seriousness, please relieve me of the lust and the greed and the anger and the jealousy and what all, pride and all that. Do you ever ask me to get rid of your arrogance and pride with the same wholehearted craving with which you sometimes ask for ice cream or dessert? So I was crestfallen, nothing to say. You just, said. What could I say? You had put your finger on the right spot. That means Baba identified it thoroughly and correctly. But then, to cheer me up, you added, what I said is not meant to blame you, because he was crestfallen. He was very saddened by what Baba said. So Baba is again now lifting him up, encouraging him. What a master psychologist Baba is, What I said is not meant to blame you. I understand your limitations and abilities better than you do. Baba understands our weaknesses, our limitations, our attachments, our shortcomings much better than what we understand. What you have done is okay with me, but you should honestly accept the facts as they are. You must honestly accept the fact that you don't call out to me to remove the lust and the greed and other things, that you call out to me more only when you are suffering and all that. And the whole purpose of getting rid of suffering and getting more of wealth is to enjoy the mundane life. You must accept that fact. That's what Baba is trying to say. What you have done is okay with me, but you should honestly accept the facts as they are, and in the future, try earnestly to transcend your lower desires and be more watchful over your wants and cravings. Baba is asking us to be very watchful about what our wants are, what our desires are, what our cravings are. This will open the door to your inner journey to me. Your words were like soothing music that moves the heart even when the mind does not understand what is happening. As Baba was saying all this, the heart is moved, and Baba's all his words are actually touching the heart. The heart is moved. Mind may not be able to fully comprehend what Baba is trying to say, but the heart has been moved and touched. I felt as if parts of my life which had been restricted, tangled up in crooked knots, were now beginning to be untied. I vainly sought for words. Vainly means in vain. I could not get the correct words in my mouth. I vainly sought for words to express my indebtedness to you. In other words, I could not express my indebtedness, my thanks to you in words. It was so profound. But before I could say anything, you got up and very lovingly said, every moment in time holds chalices of holy wine. Chalices, or sometimes they call chalices. It is a cup of holy wine. The mug which holds the holy wine which you are supposed to sip. The chalices of holy wine, and every point in space contains unknown delightful heavens. That means the heavens are not just heavens, every point in space contains these delightful heavens if we know how to access them, how to enter them. But I am not going to deal with that topic today. You have had enough of my words for now, don't you think? Good night and have a restful sleep. So saying, you walked over to the table and had a sip of water from the glass. Then, pointing to the crescent moon that was clearly visible through the window, you said, isn't that lovely? So, Baba is appreciating his own creation. Baba has been known to appreciate the tiniest of the things, the wildflower or something so insignificant, but Baba would be all out to appreciate the beauty of nature. I turned my head to look, and at the same moment, I saw you shooting out through space to reappear, sitting in the center of the crescent, casually dangling your left leg. As he turned, he saw that Baba shot out and went to the moon, and he was sitting on the crescent moon, the curved moon, dangling his leg. Were you playfully teasing me? Because I had been sitting in this position when you came into the room. We saw that he was sitting at the edge of the bed, dangling one leg. Your wit and wisdom, your humor and compassion, each outdoes the other. I mean, they are both outdoing each other. I mean, we do not know which is better. Both are outdoing the other. I turned my head to find out whether you were really on the moon or still near the table. I didn't see you anywhere, but the whole room was suffused with your luminous, loving smile. Suffused would mean it was spread through all over, spread. And luminous, we know, is glowing, loving, luminous. In an astonished yet exalted mood, I limped over to the table and drank the water. You had drank the water you had sipped. It was now holy wine, and delightful heavens seemed to dance around me. Your every visit is a unique occurrence. We have seen that we also we agree with that statement that every visit is a unique occurrence, and in every visit we get to learn something. But now what is important is, are we utilizing that learning in our moment to moment life? Are we internalizing it, what we are learning here, or we are just listening and forgetting about it? That is dependent upon us, whether we want to really imbibe those learnings or just, okay, nice to hear, tata bye bye, that kind of thing. Your every visit is a unique occurrence with glorious facets, different aspects of life are taken care of. Filled with wonder and delight, I lay on my bed beside myself and myself with rapture. Rapture would mean extreme happiness. Turning my head to the crescent moon, I implored you, is imploring Baba, beseeching Baba, praying to Baba. Pray graciously, pour your loving, sorry, pour your smiling presence into my entire being. Means please pour your smiling presence into my entire being. That would be a sure remedy for any malady. Malady means illness, sickness. For any malady, physical or mental. The perfect panacea. Panacea means cure for all illnesses, remedy for everything that is there. The perfect panacea, your smiling presence. That means your smiling presence is the panacea for all ills, whether it is physical or mental. Here we end the chapter. Anybody has anything to share? I think we still have a few minutes to go, maybe 3 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes to go. Anybody wants to share anything? If any of you have missed out on these beautiful readings, I would suggest that you can go to our Facebook page, Avatar Meher Baba Bombay Center, and go through it along with the other readings that are happening throughout the week. They are all lodged in the Facebook page of Avatar Meher Baba Bombay Center. So if you have left out anything, you can always read through it. Any no questions, no sharing. So Soumya, once again, maybe a dhoom, and we end with the dhoom.
Meher Baba, 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 Meher Baba. Meher Baba, 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 Meher Baba. Meher Baba, Meher Baba.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Jai Baba to all of you. Thank you, beloved Baba. Thank
Jai
you,
Meher Baba.
Jai
Jai Meher
Baba.
Baba.
See you all on
Jai Baba.
Jai
Jai Meher Baba.
Thank you.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
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 Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.